Yo, interwebbers, I hope you're all alright. Yeah man, you've tuned into WDY and you're listening to Sick Verse. I hope you like my new 1B. This is the new 2B. Again, apologies. But anyway, let's crack on. Right then. So yeah, I was in my element. You know, one of my earliest memories of having a car. I had a red Capri, laser 1.6, black spoiler, tilt and slide sunroof. I had a CB radio in it. Started going out with some birds. I had a bird called, I'm just gonna call her Bex. Man, she was like a double D cuff, mate. And if you got between them, you'd blacken your eyes. I was in my element. I mean, I used to spend all weekend in bed with her. My dad used to go out on bike on the Sundays, right? I'd nish that, mate. I were on the nest. And he come back about 4 o'clock and I'd still be in bed with her. I loved it. You know when you're young, mate, and you like rabbit, yeah, going for it. We do brilliant, mad stuff, you know, for spur at the moment. We went skinny dipping. We drove all the way to Kirby Lonsdale, Devers Bridge, and we went skinny dipping. There were Becky's mate, and I'll tell you, we're there as well, Angelo Contrino, right? And I'll say his name, and people who fucking knows him, right, know I'm not Jack and Hardy telling me a story. So yeah, you know what it is. I was getting in my weed. Like I say, I were doing well at work. I mean, work were going from strength to strength. It were crazy. I had to sign official Secrets Act, right, because I was due to do some work on military defence for schematics for wiring diagrams for helicopters, and later in these testimonies, right, I'm going to show you them that stuff I've got to prove it. But yeah, and some companies that I'm working for, I remember doing a logo for British Telecom, Payphone Information Business Systems. I worked for alt banks and building societies and alt financial institutions. I worked for Honda. I did a computer-based training graphics for Peugeot. I worked for Shell, Reuters, you name it, Department for Work and Pensions, Motorola. The companies are just endless. And I were doing really well. But you know what it is? What I was going through and my like sort of bit of like gregarious character and I were a bit of, you know, like I say, I were very uh, 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 I used to what's the word I'm looking for now? I was rebellious. I was very rebellious. You see, they used to have graphic designers. There were about 6 of us, and then instead of having separate rooms, yeah, they were sectioned off in like screens. And I used to get loud sometimes, and there used to be all programmers in next bed, and there'd be all script writers, right? You know, we'd get like Honda rings up and say, "Oh, we've got a new fucking Honda Civic coming out. This blah blah blah. And we want to train all our re- sales staff on all new gadgets it's got and that." And anyway, there'd be a script wrote, and then we design graphics for computer, and we'd do a training package for on the stuff, and that's what we did. But I were like, you know, like I say, I didn't go any at Christmas parties. You know what it is? They were all like proper blue straight collar workers, man. And I used to turn up on my bike and in my Capri, loud as fuck. And I didn't give a fuck, and I think they got to the stage where they sort of like regretted employing me. You see, I were a bit sneaky, really. I shouldn't have done that. I mean, when I were at college, man, I was so into my art. I sort of like forgot the computer side of things, and I shouldn't have done. I should have learned, and I sort of blagged my way into interview, and I sort of like chucked myself into deep end and learnt on job. And you know, I had a Mac on one side, a PC on the other. I was cross platforming. I was coming in early on the morning and staying late on the night to learn and train. I was learning a package called 3D Studio, which is what architects use, you know, prop eye and stuff. And then on the other side, you see, I was going at this park and I was smoking weed. I was getting into music. You know, the lads, there were 2 of them. They had this shared house, and there were these particular group of like stoners that I were like wait and but you know what it is, they were good lads and they all had good they all had they were all ready to go into a career of their own, you know, this, that, and other, and they all had really a lot of potential. And there were anything from like 6 between, and then next minute there's 15. There'd be like different crowds coming on, and you know what it is, when my mate died and I didn't have anyone, they sort of like took me on, this group of lads, you know, like they took me in, and I think back now, right, and I just thank, and if they're watching this, you know what I mean, thank you. The ace set of lads, and they taught me a lot. Like I say, I were getting at my weed. The music, what they introduced me to, were amazing. You know, I loved it, and I still listen to it now, and I feel blessed, you know, to have gone through what I went through. And yeah, it were great, this park, you know, and like I say, they were just me, Akid and my dad, and we were let loose, you know what I mean, we were let loose. And it was to go on from there. And there was something to happen that there would change me again. Yeah, it was crazy. One of lads come up to me and they were talking about something, and they mentioned something about LSD and dropping a trip, and I'd never done it before. And one of the lads, he was like my mentor. He was like a bit concerned for me, you know what I mean? And he was like, he come up to me and he says, "Oh, yeah, you're gonna be all right if you do this with us tonight, aren't you?" And yeah. He says, "Well, we'll just maybe start you off on half." He says, "But you know," he says, "You know, you'll never be the same again, don't you?" I says, "What do you mean?" He says, "Well, you'll never be the same again." And I didn't understand him. He says, "All right," he says, "Listen," he says, "you'll be all right anyway." All right, we used to get his trips, right. It was this guy in Armley on Strawberries, and his name was Wheelchair Steve, right? And he had like a motorhome, an old hippie motorhome outside his van, right? And he'd broke his back in a prison playing rugby, and scrum had collapsed, and he were paralysed from waist down. And we used to get his trips from Wheelchair Steve. And he were a great bloke, you know, hip bit long hair and all that, and it were all done through letterbox and stuff like that. And used to talk to him, and it mad as fuck, man. Anyway, yeah, this again, this were going to change me. You know, don't forget, you know, you talking like a straight head who would only just got introduced to cannabis, and that had changed him. But if I thought that were going to change me, then wait till you, this just completely like. It were amazing. Anyway, do you know what it is, right? They'd have these haunts where they'd go. I mean, there'd be various areas in park, but there'd be fields and certain places where they'd go, and they'd drop. Anyway, we dropped these trips, and we'd trip through the night, and we'd just go on an adventure, you know. And from places to places where we were going, we'd have to go on roads sometimes and public footpaths, and it were middle at night, you know, early hours of morning, you know, and we were all fucked out of his heads. And you know what it is, right? It were amazing. I understood what he meant by it changed me, because what it does, right? Look, LSD, right? It was invented in 1938, right, by a German doctor called Albert Hoffman, right? And he synthesized a lysergic acid diethylene from a mold called ergot, and he made LSD, and you know, you in '60s, your bands did it. You know, Jimi Hendrix did it. Doors used to do it. Doors used to put it behind the eyelids. You know, behind one. You've got 5 mucous membranes in your body, right? You've got your eyes, you've got your nose, you've got your mouth, you've got your bum, and you've got your dick or your fanny, yeah? Well, Doors used to put it between their eyelids. You see, Doors, right? If you're at Doors band They were originally going to be called doors of perception, yeah? Because when you do acid, like, and you change, yeah, and you fucking not same again, it's like walking through a door, yeah? Doors of perception. But they ended up just calling themselves doors. Anyway, that's what it did. It were like, you know what it is, right? If you could go to a chemist, right, and get a fucking tablet that made you wise, yeah, this would be it. I mean, I'm not. I'm like talking. You drop a trip, right? Instantaneous wisdom, clued up, and I mean clued up. Everything that I thought were important, everything that I thought wasn't important, it all shifted. The stuff that I thought were important suddenly wasn't, and the stuff that I thought wasn't important suddenly was. Everything, your government, your laws of the land, the police, history, what you get taught in school, everything. It were like all sorted out before my very eyes. And you know what it is? You know what I remember feeling, yeah? I remember feeling gutted because, mate, I were almost 19, right? And I thought that I'd wasted my life, and I'd not. I should have got onto it sooner. I were gutted. I were gutted because I hadn't got onto it sooner. See, these lads, right? These lads had done it from 14, 15, right? So, it wasn't such a transformation with them. But with me being a straight head, right, up until 18 plus, not smoking, and then suddenly doing this, don't forget I'd only been smoking weed 6 months. It was like an instantaneous, it was such a contrast between how I used to think, and it completely changed me. And I knew exactly, right, what this guy were on about when he said it'd change you forever, and I knew it. And you know what it is? What a time in my life that was. I'm not joking, you listen, kids, right? You know what it is? You get your drugs, right, and your class A's and stuff, listen. You don't get much off it. In fact, I'll tell you what you get off your naughty classes later on. Yeah, that's coming. Baby steps first, later on, right? But your psychedelics, yeah? Your trips, your LSD. Shame you can't get it hardly anymore. And your mushrooms, that's what you learn from. That's what makes you wise. That's what makes you clued up instantaneously. And I mean, you know the fucking score when you've done it. Mushrooms, I went picking every year. Did my mushrooms. But you know what it is with me, yeah? I wasn't just happy, right, with trying drugs, right? Because I'd been on such a transformation, right, and it had been such a contrast from how I thought from being a straight head. I thought to myself, right, well, if I can get this such transformation off LSD and mushes, right, I thought, what am I going to get off other drugs? And I thought, do you know what it is? I'm going to try all of them. I'm going to try all classes. I'm going to work my way through the classes, work my way up the ladder. And I thought, but not only that, right, I'm going to learn about the fucking stuff, right? I'm going to educate myself, right? I'm going to learn what it's all about, like I learned about marijuana, weed. You know, when I first started smoking it, it's not like it is now with all skunk. You know, you had your red seal, your gold seal, yeah, your squidgy black that you used to roll it into a sausage. You used to have your blonde leb, you used to have your slate, your common garden soap bar. You used to have your tie stick. Then you'd had your skunk. And like I learned about tetrahydrocannabinol. You know, marijuana's main psychoactive ingredient. You know, I learnt stuff like hot knives, you know, 2 knives in a fire, chip a bit of soap bar off, put it on, a bottle, 2 litre bottle with bottom cut off, suck smoke up. You know why that gets you stoned more than what else is? Because the weed decarboxylates at a lower temperature than a naked flame, and naked flame's quite high, 220 degrees centigrade. Weed decarboxylates at a lower temperature. When you smoke it and you get that white smoke coming off it, it's called decarboxylation, and that's the cannabinoids getting released from the weed. And reason why hot knives get you stoned. as much because you don't burn the weed in. Because when you burn the weed in, when you used to burn a joint in, you used to kill most of the THC. You'd kill it all, and that's why hot nice when you break a bit off, you didn't burn any in, so you didn't kill any THC. So that's why. And I learned stuff like that, and you know what I mean. I mean, you know what it is. I were like read doctors' books, and I thought to myself, I'm just gonna like go balls out. You know what it is? I wasn't happy with just like trying it. No, not me. No, I had to go like full blown, well, you know what I mean? Everything, and it were mental. It were mental. Anyway, I'll tell you a couple of stories now. I'll tell you a couple of stories. Come on, let me just get a smoke going here. So anyway, yeah, trips, we'd drop acid, right, and we'd go on tripping sessions, you know, right. It were amazing. And we used to go, we used to go to fairgrounds and stuff like that. And I mean, people talk about like hallucinations and stuff, you know, what they did, what they saw when they were on acid. And you know what it is? It's a bit of bollocks, is that? I mean, if you do enough of it, yeah, you'll hallucinate. But you know what it is? I did acid for about, I did acid every weekend for like 3 years, 4 years. And the only thing I saw once, Jasmine, go down. The only thing I saw, right, once it were really windy, and trees were blowing in wind. And lampposts were blowing with trees. Lampposts were blowing in wind with trees. That's the only thing I saw. Anyway, we used to go on these tripping sessions, and I had a car. And one of the lads, he knew about this place called Druids Wood. And it's like, it's a couple of miles off Ripon. And we'd go tripping there. It's amazing, really. You Google it, right? It's like Druids Wood. And first time we camped there, there's like you go around country roads, right, and then you go like a rough track muck road about a mile, and then there's like you go in like a circle, yeah, and there's a clump of about half a dozen trees, and you could go in a circle. And we parked cars up, and first time we went. We didn't camp in Temple. We camped where we parked cars, and I had a really good. I had a white Escort Mark III old valve engine. My mate had a same car, but it was chrome silver. Silver. Oh fucking! I can't think of the word. Anyway, I had these speakers, and we rigged up my speakers to system in car, and we've got a fire going, right, and we dropped these trips, yeah. I can't remember what they were. Anyway, we were fucked, and we had Pink Floyd, Shine on You Crazy Diamonds, full blast, that's all you could hear throughout Forest. And Forest, it were like a really mad, trippy sort of like environment. It were like, you know, in Star Wars, you get your speeder bikes and your Forest of Endor with your Ewoks, you know, with wild ferns and bouncy grass. It were like that. And there were about 6 of us, and we dropped these trips. Anyway, we were fucking full bad. You don't know what full bad is? Fucking hell. Fucked unbelievable beyond all recognition. Yeah, we were full bad. Anyway, listen to Floyd. Anyway, we heard this fucking rustling, right? And at Undergrowth, right, we've all looked at the same time, right, and these 3 chavas have come towards us, yeah. There's this fucking skinhead with his skin, with this green Mohican, right, fucking punk looking. He had a fucking machete about 2 foot fucking long. And the look, chava next to him, he looked like lead singers out of Dexys Midnight Runners, and I can't remember what third fella looked like. Anyway, they've come over, and we've all looked at them, right, and we've looked at machete, and we thought, you know what I mean? Anyway, they've said, we've heard music, like, we've just come to check it out. What's happening, like? I says, we're from Leeds, like, we're tripping, we've done some trips, and yeah. Anyway, we got talking, they says, we camped up near Temple, he says, come up if you want to have a, you know, come have a wander up. Anyway, we were all fucking fucked. I mean, they were all blitzed. I mean, they were all trying to skin up round fire, you know what I mean? All with fucked head on and fucking about with Rizzlers and sticking them together, and they're all, you know what I mean? And I said to them, I says, are you coming up to have a look, like? Anyway, and I was gutted, man, none of them wanted to do it. I was fucking wounded. And I thought, anyway, I says, fuck you, I says, I'm off. So I fucked off. And it was mad. There were camps near hillside at Temple, right, and they'd got this canopy system rigged up with these tarpaulins, yeah, and there were tents. There were a Robin Reliant, right, there were a motorbike and sidecar, right, and there were loads of New Age travellers. There were about a dozen of them. And then there was this guy with my weekend that we'd saw, right, and he was chopping wood with his fuck off machete, you know, and they had fire going. Anyway, so I sat next to this bird. I mean, by this time, right, I could skin up a joint with one hand tied behind my back, right, in a force 10 gale, blindfolded. I were that good. So anyway, I've skinned up a king-size tool along next to this viewer, right, and I said, oh, you fucking mad. Anyway, my trip was just getting stronger, because when you buzz off something like that and something happens off at spur at moment, it makes your trip even stronger. And I was buzzing me, you know what I mean? I had a chat to her and I was fucked off. Anyway, I was going through this fucking forest and I got lost. I got completely fucking lost. And I've seen this fire in distance and I thought, fucking hell, I thought it were lads, and I thought they've let that fire go down a bit. I thought, fucking lazy bastards. Anyway, I'm coming through this undergrowth, right? And I come to this, like, quarry face, and there's a precipice of rock, and there's two lads sat either side of a small fire, and they've clocked me through undergrowth. I've come out. Anyway, we've fucking looked at each other, right? I've introduced myself, and there were two lads tripping from Middlesbrough. And I've said to him, I says, there's like 6 of us back at car park. I says, there's fucking... we're tripping as well, we're from Leeds. And I says, do you know there's loads of New Age travellers tripping up near Temple? Anyway, we got talking. Anyway, I went back to fire. They were all still pickled. And I said to her, I says, you're not going to believe this. I says, all the forest is full of people on drugs and having a good time. And it were amazing. It were amazing. Just listen to this, right? The second time we camped, right, we camped in Temple itself, and Temple's like, you can Google it, it's like Stonehenge, and you go through this big pillar on top and pillars either side, and you go into like the size of a tennis court, and it's like Stonehenge but enclosed, yeah? And then there's like this big fucking cross, about 9 foot high, on steps, in middle, and then you go through like another concentric circle, another stone pillar, and then this great big like stone fucking sacrifice slab of wood, slab of stone, this big fucking sacrifice altar. And then there's another like little opening, and you go into this like cave that's about 4 meters deep, and it's on this hillside, and it's the most amazing setting to do trips with. I mean, we when the next camp, when we camped in Temple next, there were about 4 or 5 tents, and there were about 4 or 5 cars, and you know, there were a lot of us. I'd say there were about 15 of us, and it were amazing. We'd drop these trips and we'd come up, and they were all laying on top of these slabs of these rocks, and we'd all come up and we had a right laugh. And there's a guy. Listen, I'm going to tell you about this Java, right, in next clips videos that I've got, right. We buzzed off him, man. He'd made this torch. He'd disappeared, and we'd lost him. And he made this torch, flames, and he'd painted all his face with camo paint. And we fucking tripped off him. Anyway, we had a great night. Fucking brilliant. One of the best nights of my life. Anyway, about 9 in the morning, I think it would either a Saturday or a Sunday, I can't remember, and we were all like still blaked, you know what I mean, we were like starting process of coming down. Anyway, the next minute we fucking looked, right, we clocked, and these like old ladies fucking comes through opening at Temple, and they're all like starting to look around, and they're going, ooh, this is nice, isn't it? Ooh, never seen this before. And there's this chava with them, yeah, with his dyed hair, and he looked like he was in charge of them all. He looked like an older age pensioner's outing. And he's come up to me, yeah, and my head's in bits, mate, you know what I mean? I'm like pie-eyed still. And he says, oh, this place is mad, isn't it? He says, where are you from, like, what you doing here? I says, oh, we're from Leeds. We drop acid and we get a fire going and we trip here. He went, dear. And he thought, like, Newt Score, and he looked at me, right, and he went, are you on acid now? And I says, yeah, I am actually. I says, I'm fucked, and my mates are. And he sort of like seemed to get it. I mean, when these old ladies were coming in through this opening at Temple, I mean, we didn't know whether they were hallucinating or whether they were real or not, you know what I mean? Anyway, he got it, and he said to me, do you smoke weed? I went, yeah, I do actually. Anyway, give me a bit of soap bath. And they fucked off, but yeah, those are the sort of stuff we'd do. We once did the strongest trips I've ever done, right? There were microdot flints, yeah? They were like little flints out of a lighter, yeah? And we've gone to Wilclimore, right? There's been about 3 cars, right? And you tell you were there, like, listen, does anyone know Ginger Burt, right? If anyone knows Ginger Burt, right, he were there, right? Anyway, we thought we were on fucking moon, man. Cow and Calf Rocks in Ilkley, man. We thought we were on moon up and about on them rocks. And anyway, there were about 12 of us. We got a fire going, we were tripping. And my brother and a couple of lads disappeared. Anyway, about 20 minutes later, they've come up to the fire, yeah? And they've got all these boxes of Snickers, fucking Mars bars, fucking Kit Kats, fucking Lion bars, fucking Turkish, you name it, they've got it right, about fucking 6 or 7. Where the fuck did you get them from? There were only a fucking gang of gypsies, right, that had fucking broken into that fucking shop that sold burgers and fucking ice creams to tourists in Cow and Calf. And they'd give them hot chocolate. Anyway, we thought, oh, this is going to come on top with 5-0, you know what I mean? This is, fucking Bull's going to be here soon anyway, so we chipped. And we ended up tripping, doing rastet chips back at Park. But those are the sort of stuff we used to do, right? And those are the adventures that I had. And it was the best time of my life. And do you know what it is? I was getting really clued up, right? And my life would go to the maddest of extremes now. I'm telling you. It went crazy. Right? This is nothing. This is nothing compared to what happened. So right, so next chapter, right, it's going to be 3B, yeah? I don't know what fucking poetry I'm going to do in 3A, but we'll have to see. Look, listen, take care of yourselves. Great talking to you. Respect.